Racism has been a problem since the beginning of time, and it needs to end now. Let's go to Becca Schumann to learn more about racism.
Racism, the hatred of one person by another, or belief that another person is less than human because of skin color, language, customs, place of birth, or anything that reveals the basic nature of that person. Karl Marx described the processes that created modern racism, the rise of capitalism placing the African slave trade into the world. Marx wrote about enslavement of people in the minds of the indigenous populations, and how the conversion of Africa into preserve for the commercial hunting of black skins are all things that characterize the dawn of the era of capitalist production and racism.
From the start with the Europeans' arrival on the North American shores and their plan to subdue and conquer its land came racism against Native Americans. Europeans believed the original inhabitants of America were savages who needed to be civilized through Christianity and European cultures. This led to genocide, mass murder, stolen land, attempts to wipe out Native American traditions, as well as forced assimilation through institutions like residential schools and the establishment of the Indian reservations. Now to Sydney with ways to solve this crisis.
There are many ways to solve this problem, but the most important and the most effective is just education. Racism is a belief and it's in the mind, meaning the only way to change it is to change people's minds. One way to do this would be by reaching out, having events, and showing the public the effects that racism has on other people's lives and teaching them the ideals of equality. The very effective way to do this would be to go to schools with younger children and mold their minds from the start, because it's harder to change the minds of adults who have had their beliefs with them for a long time. Some organizations who are trying to change society for the better are the NAACP and IMADR.
Now, let's go around CCA to see what other people have to say about racism and how it can be solved. Now, Shreya, what do you think about racism and how it can be solved in the world today?
Well, I think racism is a big problem, and to be solved, everybody needs to play an equal part. So I don't know exactly how it can be solved, but everybody has to participate.
I think it's important that when people are talking about ethnic minorities that they don't generalize and pluralize them and treat them as somehow having less self-efficacy than other groups. Because I think a lot of the time when we're trying to help combat the problems of racial inequality, a lot of the time we kind of sideline the actual ethnic minorities we're talking about rather than trying to empower them. So I think that's it.
Maybe educating people about racism so then people can know about the problem so that we can fix it.
I thought she was answering for both of us. So.
For people to stop looking at each other as different colors and different races and looking at each other as humans so we could coexist in the same environment.
I think one big solution to racism, I guess, is just, where you have people talk to other people about their identity and their culture, because I think a lot of racism, it stems from misunderstanding. People don't understand other people, and that can lead to hatred, that can lead to anger, and that's what happened. That's why a lot of wars happen. It's because people are misunderstanding other people and thinking that they're insane and they're the only right one in the world. So I think if people just learn to accept each other and stop misunderstanding, I think that's one big solution to just end racism altogether.
To be accepting, just everyone's people. I don't know.
One solution to racism, it would be just organizations and education for younger people, and just bringing up issues to the public so that everybody's aware of the challenges and the dangers of racism.
Stay classy, CCA. What do you think about racism?
It's pretty bad.
Nice!